gone across to the middle of the ground. Through Stewart, through Treaster, through Ferris. Campbell will score! Campbell scores! His second try of the day.
Did very, very well. Well, let's just have a look how the Bulldogs regroup. They go wide. We freeze it there. Look at this man from the Bulldogs. Second in from the outside. Look how he's raced up. And if they can get the ball in behind the line, as they do with the pass, as play continues, they take advantage of that hole. Preston Campbell ran into the hole.
I'll start with you, Francis. Do you think it's possible that he's distracted, or do we have to expect him to be a professional and we should be not factoring that as a problem?
No, I think when they're at that stage where they're on the edge of trying to get a head job, they can get a bit distracted. But you'd like to think they'd be professional, but I think in the story of life you do get a bit distracted and focus on what you want for yourself, and you can fade away a little bit. I've seen it in our profession. I've had several people who are excellent at their job and they want to evolve out of our practice and start their own, and you can see it sometimes that their concentration and effort fades a little bit. But I haven't heard anything specifically about Josh, but it is possible. Yeah.
Oh, lads, I'm just laughing because I know what you're laughing about.
You're killing me, Baldo.
Oh, it's taken over, mate. Yeah, lads, how many head jobs have you concentrated on getting, lads?
Well, I always find it distracting myself also, so I'll stay out of this one, mate.
Oh, fair enough. Oh, look, I think there's a good faux pas there of yours, Francis.
With the Brisbane team scoring through some guy called Wayne Carr and Mal Meninga in the goal. That team also had
Is that actually his name?
So, Wayne Carr, correct. Wayne Carr. Oh, sorry, Norm Carr. There's another player called Wayne Carr, but Norm Carr. Right. Sorry, Norm. Norm
We
Carr.
know who the Wayne Carr is now.
Yeah. Anyway, Gary.
Out of trouble. Tough mood is going. Townsend again. Early ball for Bird, and now Valentine Holmes. Palms off Selwood. Holmes in the clear. No one's going to get close to Valentine Holmes. He's going to charge away. Valentine Holmes will score under the sticks.
In amongst all of that, Lats had an awesome story about how awesome this Finau guy was, and then Baldo concludes it with like, yeah, Finucane, how good is he? And everyone's like,
I don't even know who Finau is. I just assumed that Finau was the same guy as Finucane. Is that a different person? I didn't know that. Who the hell's Finau?
Wow.
This is how flawed the tears are. He doesn't even know how to say.
Baldo.
This is where the tears bit comes into it.
I'm listening to the card going, did my stream just like skip 30 seconds or something? Like, no, it was just Baldo just playing along. But anyway.
Red off. No gesture from him. It indicates that he lost it cold, and he knows that he did.
So Wayne Bennett's words of no mistakes all to no avail at this stage. That's the second time they've had the football Brisbane. Their second mistake. And just handing over possession to Cronulla in good field position now, right on the halfway line.
Eddinghausen and Green laying it on. Peaching into the space. They're not going to get him. The young fullback scores for the Sharks.
There's the run around. They sent one player through. That took Steve Renouf out of play. Willie Kahn took his man, and all of a sudden David Peachey had doubled around and ran into a yawning gap. Perfectly executed, beautifully constructed, so hard to defend against.
It's gone away there from Cronk to give it out wide. It's Corometti. He's got them turning around. It's now with Vunivalu. Vunivalu, the season's top try scorer, got the ball away. Roberts to Smith. Smith to Hampton. Hampton, can he find a gap? He gets the ball away. It's to Smith. Smith gets it away to Cronk. Cronk's got Corometti with him. Have they got a chance here? Corometti's put down. The siren sounds. Cronulla have won it. Cronulla have won it. 14-12. You can turn the light out now.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.
Vegas Raiders, NFL Super Bowl, WWE SummerSlam, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, The Rolling Stones, Billy Joel, Elton John, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, and now the Cronulla Sharks. The boys are on the big stage, and while we didn't win, I'm proud to say we didn't go all that way to make fools of ourselves. Welcome to the ET Stand, the Sharks fans podcast where we let our talking do the football. We are in all the usual places, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys want us to be. If we aren't there, let us know and we'll try to get there. While listening, don't forget to like and subscribe, drop in some comments, give us a rating, all that good stuff. You'll also find us on Discord where Sharks fans can chat 24/7 and any other malarkey you feel you need to talk about. The link will be in the chat and we'll try and remember to pop it in the description below. Joining me on the panel tonight is Lats, another who wasn't lucky enough to head over to Vegas, and assuming they're able, we've penciled in Boldo and Kelly to dial in live from the scene and let us know on what the atmosphere was like and give us a look behind the curtain. If you haven't, you should check out our Instagram. The lads have hit the strip hard with interviews from such greats as E.T., Volandis, Abdo, Carl Stefanovic, and, wait for it, Buzz Rothfield. Whew, Lats, as someone who missed out on what was it like watching it on the sidelines, both, I guess, the game and the shenanigans that the boys are getting up to?
Mate, the boys have been awesome keeping us updated with what's been going on. I feel like I've been there. Devastatingly, I couldn't be there. Mate, not disappointed in our efforts tonight. But yeah, just heartbreakingly close. It's been awesome to watch. I'm glad the Sharks are a part of it. I love the concept, and hopefully we'll get to one day when they're playing there again.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those things that we have said, you know, when it was announced and pretty much all the way leading up to it now, right? It's something that we are fortunate enough to take part of, but more importantly, we're at the pointy end of it. It's not sort of delayed where it's been old hat and you're wondering if you'll ever get a chance, or some teams have already gone or got a second hit. Yep. We were one of the front runners with, you know, 4-time premiership winning team. I think that holds us in high regard, and also the Sharks management there. So I think that's been pretty good and something that we can hold our heads up high. Again, we didn't win, and we'll discuss that. But I still think it was pretty good that we're there taking part in it and having a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
I got to say, yeah, if you missed our episode last Tuesday, I said I wouldn't have gone. Gosh, in hindsight, you know what? Maybe it would have been great to go. I couldn't have gone, so it was never an option. But given the chance, do it a take two, I probably would be packing my bags, I think, getting over there. It looked a lot of fun, especially sort of having a bit of a first-hand account from Boldo and Kelly. I think you were close, right, Lats?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, agonisingly close. I was. I had it all sorted. I'd been looking into flights. Just couldn't get the time off. Unfortunately, as you know, I started a new gig about 6 months back, and just wasn't able to make it happen at the end. But at least I could get today off and watch it on TV. Yeah,
brilliant. All right. Well, like I said, if we're one of those lucky ones that they start to run out of viable options and we get a second bite of that cherry, maybe we'll be in this time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this debrief is brought to you by Solve Accounting, experts in all things accounting and tax. You can find them at solveaccounting.com.au. They do great things. They're experts in the field, and they're happy to help everyone, all comers from all walks of life. So reach out to them if you need help with tax or financial advice, and see what they can do for you. We'll just do a bit of a quick rundown, a quick bit of a run through of all of the key plays before we hit some comments, and then chat some of the things that maybe wrinkled our blankets. I guess 4 minutes in, after a comedy of errors, Trindle not finding touch, giving Penrith the ball, McLean then loses control in a play of the ball after his head collects Kennedy's shin. We then drop it off the scrum, but thankfully Penrith are pinged for being offside. After a couple of solid runs, we get a play of the ball in the middle of the field, then Trindle to Hines. Hines double pumps before giving the ball to Ramian, who slices through a big gap thanks to the defenders keeping eyes on Nickera and Hines. This is a great little try where really not much was on, but there was a lot of bodies in motion and basically gave our playmakers a couple of options and created a bit of indecision in the defenders' minds. What did you think of that one, mate?
Yeah, mate. Look, I thought it was great. You know, we utilised on those calls going our way. I thought we were very lucky there to get that call when Ramian dropped it. And yeah, just caught them napping on our first attacking set and got the biscuits there. It was a nice little try, a nice little double pump, as you said, from Nico, and yeah, saw Ramian over in the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was nice to see, and it was also nice to be in the first 5 minutes having us score. So it wasn't, the last few times we played Penrith, it's been 20, 30 minutes before we've been able to get a try, get some points, and they're a nervous 20 or 30 minutes. So to do that early was good, get the monkey off our backs, and then just start playing some football. 26th minute, Yo steps inside, changing directions from about 10 out. AFB is chasing hard. He's wrong-footed. He still managed to throw an arm out, and Hazelton's coming across, makes contact, but Yo is able to burst through and score under the posts. This one was a bit disappointing, but we were sort of full of energy. We were running hard. It was, I guess, something that we're keeping our eyes on the out wide. Maybe we shouldn't have, considering I think Cleary was tackled on that set, so he wasn't there to ball play. We should have just squashed the defence a little bit and manned up. What did you reckon?
Yeah, mate. I thought Kennedy defensively on this one was just a little bit too far over to the left. Couldn't get across in front, and the momentum from Hazelton pushed Yo over the line. AFB had a good crack, still had a hold of him when he crossed, but just wasn't enough to hold him back. And yeah, as you said, Cleary being out of the play, mate, we should have played that a little bit safer in regards to it being a running fifth tackle option. And unfortunately, it was just too strong. Yeah.
Will the Younger here, he says, Hazelton sadly just too slow. And Ronnie is too much of a hot potato. Well, we'll talk about Ronnie a bit later. I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about him, but Hazelton being too slow, you wanted to have that impression, but he did get across. He did make contact on Yo. He just wasn't able to wrap up and hold him over the line. Maybe he got there too late, but I'll hold judgment on him being a bit too slow. Give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt there. We've then got this one hurt a little bit, but 2 minutes later, Brayley kicks it dead on the restart. Now, interestingly, when the first kickoff went agonisingly close from, I think it was Edwards that kicked it, agonisingly close to going dead, I thought, oh, geez, Brayley's going to need to be on his game here, because he generally kicks it pretty close to the dead ball in a regular field. So this wasn't really a surprise to see him do it. I was hoping he wouldn't, but I guess first chance he got, maybe he learnt from his mistakes because he didn't do it again. But after a couple of hit-ups, Cleary wraps around and Chip kicks it through for Tago to score. From the original camera angle, it looked for me all money as that he put too much pepper on it, but it was pinpoint perfect. It was good kick.
Yeah, mate, you could see Cleary starting to switch on at this point just after that Yao try. And, with precision, he's not going to get those wrong too often, Cleary. Looked a little bit clunky to start with leading up to that, but then it was just switch it on, and unfortunately for us that we just got caught napping there, and he slid through the line and got the try. Yeah.
35th minute after a set restart, we have a couple of big boppers attracting defenders, including a solid run from Talakai, centre of the field. From the play of the ball, we have a deep backline play and a hard-running Hazelton going against the grain. It gives Trindle options again and keeps the Panthers' defence guessing. Trindle engaging the line and grubbers through where Nickera is able to chase and score. Again, playmakers with options, I think, that is should be our bread and butter moving forward. We've got guys with talent all across the field. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think this is one where we've shown that, we can get the ball out of the back. And I think if you give them the opportunity to pick and choose where they want to go and what they want to do with the ball, we're saying they're going to pick the right option. What do you reckon?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's Tricky's been awesome, and this was a nice little eyes up play from him, which saw Nickera slide through. But yeah, no, you're right. Getting to pick where they need to, where they want it, where they want it to happen, where they want to make that play. They know what's going on. The defense doesn't, and yeah, we came up with it.
Yeah. In the 48th minute, the Panthers get a set restart. They swing the ball wide with a couple of hole runners, a bit of disruption as Ramian bumps into someone, but basically we're short and they were too quick there with Dane Laurie scoring in the corner. I'll put my hand up in the air. The commentary team on Fox Sports were going gaga over this one, but I really didn't see anything too special. Maybe I've got my Sharks colored goggles on there, but I just thought we were a little bit slow out the gate. And it was a nothing play. But that's how I saw it.
Yeah.
In the 52nd minute, Kennedy gets tackled hard after gathering a kick, which triggers Mulatalo, unfortunately resulting in us giving away a penalty and losing possession. This becomes a fast-running sweep play from the Panthers that sucks in our defence and also sees Mulatalo charging in on Edwards, leaving plenty of space out wide for Alamotti to score in the corner. Incidentally, Kennedy gets hammered in the very next clearing kick and we get the penalty. It's not to say we would have got the penalty earlier, but we certainly wouldn't have lost the ball. This one hurt. I got a lot of text messages off the back of this one. This didn't look good, and I'm sure Ronnie was probably, I don't know, maybe a little bit of red mist, but it was not a good look. What do you reckon?
Mate. This is on the odd occasion where Ronnie's passion's gonna cruel us. He was going after, it's just so frustrating, Franko. Look, we had the ball, 0 tackle. It was all in our hands, and to give it up like that, you don't give away penalties like that. No matter who you think's been knocked in the head or what, you do not just stay out of it when you've got the ball. And this one really hurt. And I think it's really going to hit home with Ronnie, in the next couple of hours or so when he's reflecting on the game. And I'm sure Fitzy would have had plenty to say on it.
Yeah, I think so as well. But thankfully, I'm going to say that he has signed with the club long term, because if he hadn't, that could have got a bit ugly in the social comments there from a few angry fans. But he's a great player, and you're right, he wears his heart on his sleeve. So we've got to take the good, the bad, but hopefully there's a little bit less bad moving forward. In the 58th minute, a miscommunication between Cleary and Martin sees the ball hit the deck. Trindle toe pokes it through and regathers, giving us the ball in good attacking position. A couple of plays later with a flat line, Trindle fakes short but throws a face ball to Iro, who goes through to score under the posts or next to the posts. This was a lovely little golden period from Trindle. You can really sort of see when Trindle is switched on and gets himself involved. This sort of 5-minute period was one of those examples. He's just, as you said earlier with his try assist before, he's eyes up football, getting involved, seeing what he can do either in defence or attack. It's really good to see him have that high impact and high involvement.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it is. And he's really come on, and he is really repaying back the club, for what they've shown in him. And is the stable half in the team at the moment. And Nico can just float around, play his natural game off the back of it. But just to have him there with that stability and that, as you said, that eyes up footy, it's great to have when attacking the line, and it just gives us so many more options.
Yeah, absolutely. In the 68th minute, after Ramian gets hit high, we kick for touch and start our set in the 40-metre line. After a couple of quick play the balls, AFB gets the ball almost 10 out and is able to muscle his way over the line carrying 3 defenders. It looks like nothing was happening, but his legs just kept pumping and he gets himself a 4-pointer. I mean, what can you say about that?
AFB,
Exactly.
how good, mate. We knew it was. We knew this was going to come, and it's come early. And look, It's so nice to see. It just gives us that attack, like when Fafita in his prime, and just that good forward leg drive push. How lovely, and it's already started to unfold. So it's great to see.
We'll talk about his game in general after this, but it's pretty deceiving. Like he doesn't seem to be coming onto the ball hard.
No.
He doesn't seem to be driving through the tackle either. He just sort of meanders across with people on his shoulders and gets over the line. It's pretty crazy. Nonchalantly,
it's just that
and
leg drive. Yep.
Yeah, similar
Strength,
to
pure strength.
the try against Canberra. It just didn't look like anything was happening, and he just gets there. So good to see. Hopefully a lot more, but he can count himself off the nudie run in the first round in his debut match. So well done, AFB. In the 75th minute, there's a play of the ball center of the field, 20 out, and the Panthers send it through the hands to Dane Laurie, who scores in the corner. Look, this was off a little bit of scrappy play where questionable drop ball. What happened there? We kind of clocked off, giving them plenty of meterage. The play on was called, and then a set restart. Oh no, that was later. So this was just a bit weird. I wasn't sure about this one. I'll need to re-watch, but I'm not sure why Stone Street was defending in the center of the field. Obviously leaving us short out wide. It's a bit of I don't know, anyone in the comments want to shout out, but yeah, Stone Street making the tackle. Obviously the Panthers good enough to notice that and send the ball that way. Was good of them, but unfortunately we weren't in a position to defend it. We won't talk about the almost try, will we, with 2 minutes to go, because that was a bit heartbreaking. And then Panthers win 28-22, Cleary 4 from 5, Trindle 3 from 4, in what was an entertaining, high-scoring affair. Both teams had a bit of rust or maybe nerves, but ultimately I thought the contest was high quality. I don't know about you, mate, but how was your heart through that one? You're generally a bit high-strung in the first couple of rounds.
Yeah, mate. Look, I was comfortable after we scored that first try, and then seeing Cleary just switch back on, I thought, okay, it's on. I knew it was going to be close, and we definitely weren't disgraced. But just a few little things we can work on. But some good performances right across the park. I don't think anyone had a bad game, and just unfortunately we couldn't get it tonight. And we were playing, 4-time reigning premiers, Penrith, and to go up against them on a stage and on an arena like that, we definitely did ourselves proud without coming up trumps, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was, you mentioned it there, and look, Taylor 5 has come through here, or is it Taylor S? Sorry, Taylors. At least we didn't get belted. He's right there, because for a game of big occasions, we had pretty much all one-way traffic, right? So the Raiders belted the Warriors, the Gillaroos belted the Lionesses. I'm not quite sure what the England game was, the Super League game, but
48-24, I think the score in that was. So there was a shellacking there as well.
Bit of a shellacking. So to keep the billing as the best game to come last, I think we did well. I held our heads up high in that scenario, which was nice to see. We'll go through a couple of quick comments here. Well, confirmed here, Boldo reckons he's going to join in about 30 minutes. That's assuming he doesn't get distracted by all the pretty lights in Vegas. But Shake says here, errors, same old Cronulla, with a bit of a laughing face. I don't know. I think it was round one. We weren't too bad there, I thought. Yes, there were some errors, but if we're gonna pick on that, we're gonna have to say that I think the Panthers had a few faux pas in them as well, right? So
definitely got to blow the cobwebs off, mate, and it takes a couple of rounds.
Yeah, exactly.
All in all, I thought we were pretty safe.
Yeah. Now, Benny Turner says, was the ruck at different speeds? Ooh, what was your opinion on that one, lads?
Mate, it's a few of these surprised me. It seemed to flare up and then it'd slow down. I found quite a few of our play the balls from players we normally rely on to get a nice quick play the ball was a bit off tonight as well. But luckily Brayley with his eyes up saw a lot of that and had a couple of runs out of dummy half and we were able to capitalise and I think it wasn't too bad.
I actually think, Benny, you're right, mate. I thought that the ruck speed was pretty slow with the Panthers all over us. That said, I think there was some mitigating circumstances. They really outmuscled us. Their engine room was just a bit stronger than us. They pushed us back, held us up, and by doing that, we're able to slow the ruck down quite a bit. I know there was a couple of moments where true to form, McInnes, known for a quick play the ball, ended up basically just diving at their feet to try and get to the ground because he noticed that we were being held up and sort of wrestling, which is probably not surprising if you think about what are they calling it, the tunnel ball rule now, where they're really sort of cracking down on an attempt need to be made with the play the ball. That was brought in because Penrith were changing the ruck speed and trying to get an advantage. Well, if it was targeted at them, they're going to need to try and find another way around it. And I guess this is sort of maybe their answer to that. I certainly thought that it was a bit slow, but I think it was earned, if that makes sense. I think they really had the muscle and they were able to push us around and hold us up and have that fight and contest in the tackle. And we were silly enough to try and wrestle with them instead of look for that quick play of the ball. But yeah, I did think it was a different ruck speed, but as I said, I feel that Panthers earned it, which may rub us the wrong way, but that was how the refs judged it, and probably was the right call, I suppose. We'll see how that pans out over a few weeks, though.
Yep, mate. I've just had some something come in from Boldo saying he's in the car currently. On his way back to the room, he'll be on in 15.
Oh, geez, see, I told you he'd be struggling to get on in 30, didn't I? Whew.
You did.
Okay. Well, maybe that's just trying to build up the suspense, hey?
Yeah,
I hear he's got some really good news for us, really going to blow our minds. It might be just the price of beer, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Boldo doesn't buy beer. Everyone buys it for him. You know that?
This is true. Here we go. We've got 12 from 21. It says, this is a game we lost through week 1 mistakes as much as Penrith won it. Silly mistakes hurt us badly. I don't think that it was silly mistakes. Like we said just a bit earlier, it was round 1. Penrith had a fair few mistakes as well. I think if we're going to pick on anything like that, maybe it's discipline a bit. But that could be a bit unfair since really the Mulatalo scenario is looming large. Outside of that, we were pretty well disciplined in terms of infringements and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know if I can agree with that one, 12 from 21. Maybe on a rewatch, I'll have a bit of a closer look. There were some ugly mistakes. Like, what would we say? The first 2 Penrith tries were off mistakes of ours. So you might have something there, mate. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be too hard on them. And will the youngers come back on that Hazelton thing? I think is what he's coming back on. Says he did, but Klein called straight away for a 6 again since he wasn't square. Oh, was that maybe the Stone Street thing? Will maybe confirm that one for us. And then Williams 2.0. There's a lot of Williams. Can anyone tell me why Klein refused to allow McInnes to challenge, especially seeing as though we would have won the challenge? I don't think we would have won the challenge. Not to dodge the question 2.0, mainly because I don't know the reason. Do you know, Lats?
I don't think Cam went ahead to challenge it. I think he knew. And that's why he didn't push it any further. And just because I was I'm kind of shocked that he didn't challenge it. And then I could see the look on Cam's face when Klein was talking to him, and he seemed to just to take it. So I don't think he thought he was going to win it himself.
Yeah, on the replay, we only got one quick replay. I'm going to say it would have been hard to overturn. I think we probably would have lost it. Maybe it would have been a benefit of the doubt ref's call and we retain our challenge, but I don't think we would have won it. It didn't look conclusive in our favour. As to why we weren't allowed to, yeah, I don't know why.
Can't see why we wouldn't have been.
He certainly called it straight away, so there was no delay. He is the captain, so there's no issue there. Bit of a weird one. Certainly do a bit of research and try and make sure that we answer that question for 2.0 on our Tuesday night episode. Scotty says, greetings from Korea.
Korea.
Yeah. And he then follows that up with, why do we make average players for the team look so awesome? Not to blow smoke up his skirt, but I think Cleary's probably making average players look awesome on the other team right about now. I don't know. We'll see. I think I can't think of any players that I would say were kind of average. I think it was pretty noticeable while Cleary was down with the injured ribs there for that set. Panthers kind of looked a little bit rudderless. They looked a bit nervous, and I think it doesn't bode well for them if he gets a long-term injury. Time will tell, but I certainly think he was pulling the strings tonight and doing it well.
Do you think, Franko, it was to our detriment that Casey McLean got put out of the game? Because Dane Laurie seemed to be pretty good on the wing there.
Look, I don't think so. I think we just stopped taking advantage of it. I think you sort of saw there for about 15 minutes after he went off, we were making good medias there. We were getting an advantage there, but sort of moved away from it. No, Dane Laurie had a few clangers that went our way as well, drop balls, and so it'd be very much crystal ball scenario to say that, but I don't think Dane Laurie blew us away. I think he was just at the end of a very good backline movement that anyone could have scored. Not to take away from some of the good things he did, but really I think that's what it came down to. He was practically untouched in his tries, and then in defence he wasn't crash hot. So yeah, I'd say it was probably a good swap for us, especially if you consider that they're a man down on the bench. Not to say how many minutes he would have got as a bench rotation anyway, but hopefully you'd like to think that it pings someone somewhere in terms of fatigue. But yeah.
Yeah, just going back to his tries, I know definitely on one of them, I thought we were unlucky not to get an obstruction call. Like they seem to be, just hovering around our line and stopping in our line of defence, which didn't really impede. They were never not going to score it, but it did. If that had gone back to video ref textbook, obstruction.
Yeah, I think they're trying to ref it a bit differently this year. There was a bit of scuttlebutt around how obstruction is going to be called, and various key indicators are going to be treated differently. So I think
more of a
it
common
might
sense
have
approach.
Yeah, a bit of a common sense approach. So I think it might have been allowed through. We know the video ref can sort of look at it on the fly, and they didn't really blink at it. So
Nothing in it. Yep.
Nothing in it. Yeah, that might be just more us wanting to see that called back. If we're going to talk about tries or non-tries, there was the Hamlin-Uele try. What did you think about that one, or should I say no try? Did he bobble it? Did he get?
I thought that top
short?
hand on top of the ball was. I didn't see that leave the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I'd probably be filthy if Penrith had scored one like that and it been allowed. So I can see how it ended up like that. But at the same token, I could give it to. So it was a 50-50 that obviously didn't fall into our lap. But
yeah, I think it's a hard one where I think he held onto the ball as well. I think you're right. That top hand, maybe the video ref thought it was a Panthers arm. I don't know, but he definitely had that gripped into his chest with that top hand. Yes, the bottom hand comes off.
If that goes up as a try, it's hard to overturn.
It's not cricket as well, right? It's not you're holding it, but the bottom of the ball touches the ground, so it's considered a drop. That's not how it works in rugby league. He was gripping it. It was pressed to his chest. Definitely, I feel retained possession. But at that same vein, I would have been a bit angry if it was, as you said, if it was given against us, about it maybe being a double movement. I think that he did sort of promote that ball. So you're right, 50-50. There's a couple of things going against us, a couple of things going for us, but I think that it's probably good that it's okay that happened. Sheikh comes through and says he didn't ground it anyway. Whoa, is that wow? Have to double check that one. Looked pretty good from the angle I saw, but maybe not.
Double check the double movement.
Look, here we go. Benny Turner says try. Rob says you don't need both hands to be in control. So I'm thinking.
Correct.
I didn't think he's against it. He thinks it's a try. Sheikh agrees that he was short, and maybe that's what he means by didn't ground it, not that he didn't ground it over the line. So we'll take that one back. And then so I think we'll say that's okay, especially since we know that there's probably going to be some circles of the press blowing up over the try that Will Kennedy saved by knocking the ball out of, and I forget who it was, but knocking the ball out of his hands for Cleary to then come through and clean up and score. Yeah, I think you're right, mate. And so maybe we'll call it even. Can we do that? Do we think that's even?
I didn't even think that was. I thought that was a correct call with Kennedy, to be honest. You see Kennedy look back at him and look away. He wasn't. He was trying to stop the ball. Whether he was trying to knock it out or not, I don't know. But I think that was a pretty fair call, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those things that really is situational. But if it's not ripped out of your hand, like it's not raked out and goes forward, I think it's a knock on because it's technically a loose carry, right?
Yeah, I just thought Kennedy was playing at the wrist, like to come up under the wrist, and gets the ball. Yeah.
So look at this. Robbie's on point with us here at the moment. No way he knocked it out in the process of scoring a try. No try. So yeah, agree with you there, Rob. I think we're on the same page. But I think the criticism of that call comes from because we knocked it out in the process of scoring a try. It's not a knock on, allowing Cleary to come through and ground it for a legal try. That's the grey area that we're talking about, I suppose. Now, Boldo reckons he's going to be on in 5 minutes. He's certainly hyping this up with a run-by-run play of how long he's going to be to get here.
Is that 5 minutes Vegas time or 5 minutes
exactly
Australian Eastern Daylight Savings time?
Yeah. Well, he did originally have this one scheduled for 10:55. So apologies everyone who was ready to have a late night with the ET Stand podcast crew, but we corrected that and brought it forward to 6. Chris kicks in here and says, not a bad start considering playing the Premiers, taking into account the occasion and first game of the season. The Sharks are well placed despite the close loss. Now, on that, talking about the occasion that Chris mentioned there's a few people that talk about Sharks crumbling under pressure on the big stage and whatnot. Do we count that as a bit of a bonus? That's a big stage, isn't it? 45,000 there, travelling overseas, press and media in your face for 3 or 4 days leading up to the game.
A lot of outside noise. I think that is a massive stage. It's got to be up there with a grand final feel. I know there's not as much on the line, but it is a pretty big spectacle, and I think they did us proud. I know we lost, but I'm not too bad with it. It's sitting okay.
Yeah. I think that's great experience for us. both from an administration point of view, but definitely I think the players getting that exposure, having to do those media days, that's good practice for semi-finals. I'll claim that for the team, and I think they handled it really well. We saw them interviewed all the time. We saw all the promo videos, and they were still able to put in a performance like that. So I think that was a good sign.
No inflatable bats. And,
not from our team. Now, you might need to help me on this one, Lats. Rob comes in, he says, he's late to the party, but have we spoken about the incorrect play the ball by the chin before the Yao try? Did Cleary have a bad play the ball, or was it just one of those tunnel balls? Did you pick up on that?
I can't recall it, but I remember, I don't know if it was this play, but there was one where the ball looked like it went out to the side and then got played back, but I'm not sure if that was the one, because my heart was in my chest at that, like, well below my chest actually. It was, I don't know if that was it. Oh no, so that was a roll. Okay, so no, I didn't see that one.
So I guess this is where Rob clarifies, and he says he did not touch the ball. I guess this is where the problem of this enforcing the rule comes in, because they haven't reworded the rule. It is still a genuine attempt, and by having the word attempt in there means it's up to the discretion of the ref. If they flick their toes a little bit, maybe that's considered an attempt by some. How high or far away from the ball is certainly taken into consideration. So
there has to be motion from the foot to whether it touches or not to look like a regular play the ball.
Yeah, so I might go back and have a bit of a watch of that one. But that's going to be a grey call that comes out, I think, a few times this season. It is worth mentioning, Rob, that the incorrect play the ball is now something that the video ref can rule on in determining whether or not it's a try. So previously they couldn't do anything within the play the ball. That had to be cleared before they could adjudicate on anything. But now the play the ball is included in video ref decisions. So even if Klein went up with a try, we know that they review those calls and go back through before they kick the goal. So they would have done it. They probably would have looked at the play of the ball. So I'm going to say that multiple eyes said it was okay. So play on, unfortunately. Now, one last one before we let Boldo come in. He thinks he's there. He's hot. He's bothered. He's rushed home. Is he sober? I don't know. He's got a glass of liquid there. Hopefully he's sober. Hopefully he's got a voice, but we'll just cover one more here before we let him in, running hot. And this is a big one. Atkinson playing 14 minutes is almost pointless. He got 14 minutes for sweet FA production. We don't have a plan for when we'll try again. The second one here. I would rather have forward like Tukes or Hapia get a run. So I think Williams 2.0 might not be sober because he was the one that tried to get that one out. But yeah.
Totally agree with Williams on this one, Franco.
Yeah.
I know he just looked a bit lost. Like, it did look pointless having him out there. I get running with an outside back. Look what happened to Casey McLean. But don't forget, we've got Sifa Talakai there that can slide into the centres. We can have a shuffle around if we have to. And having that impact come off the bench, that extra big man there, could have really helped us out tonight.
Yeah. I think it's worth saying. I think it's worth saying that, yeah, he was only on for 14 minutes. It was very difficult to work out where he was playing or what the plan was. Only 2 runs for 20 metres, but he made 10 tackles, so almost a tackle a minute. So he was putting in, but I think it comes back to that scenario of what was the plan? What was he there to do? Was he there to make 10 tackles? I don't know, but if it's someone there that's going to be for 14 minutes, I think we sort of want someone that's going to make an impact, right? So you drop someone in like Tapua, who we saw him be a bit of a wrecking ball, and in the last season when he got those short stints, I think that's probably the go for us. We'll see what happens. It's certainly going to be a work in progress, I imagine, and we'll certainly talk about the bench as a whole in a bit later. But here we go. I think we've got Boldo ready to come on in. He's got the golden mic. He's got the golden voice.
The golden mic.
And Boldo, come on down.
Gentlemen.
Boldo.
How are we, mate?
I should have updated my avatar here because I'm actually Chris Kelly less. And so in leaving Allegiant Stadium, I lost him.
You guys are joined at the hip, I thought.
He belongs to Vegas now.
He belongs to Vegas now. He's just gone. He just wasn't following us and was just not around. So, yeah, who knows? Goodness me. But yeah, got the golden mic back in the hotel room up here at Resorts World. So
he's not asleep on the roof of the hotel, is he?
Great show so far, boys. I've been listening from the car park. Yeah, disappointing, wasn't it? Really, the Sharks. We've clearly bridged the gap between us and the Panthers and where we were in that prelim final. But we still just don't have that quality and that decision-making, and a little bit was off. I thought that the time when Aiden Fanua-Blake was on the field certainly made a big difference. And like we were just not in the middle 40 minutes. And now we're one of those teams when, wow, okay, the best forwards are going to come back onto the field and the Sharks are suddenly going to come good. And that is what happened with Aiden Fanua-Blake for mine, was a big moment. So, yeah.
Yep.
What was the atmosphere like, buddy?
It was a bit subdued once the Gillaroos got playing, and the Wars, because the Warriors got pumped, and also the match with Wigan was also a bit of a shellacking. The fans from those teams didn't hang around. And so because the fans were quite spread out, it had a disjointed feel about it. And so was difficult for the chance. It was difficult for the crowd to get in the game. It certainly wasn't a game where there were crowd penalties or anything like that. But boy, it was a terrific time. There was a lot of camaraderie amongst rugby league fans in general, and putting the space on the map. We had a terrific story. We did a promotion on Instagram when, look, we were gifted the corporate box that we were in. If the Sharks had won, this would have been the greatest weekend of my lifetime, bar the grand final. We had a partnership, or do now have a partnership with PRX, a blockchain rewards company that gifted us a corporate box at Las Vegas. It's freaking unbelievable. These guys.
Well, we love PRX then, don't we?
Yeah, well, they're now one of the lead sponsors of our show. And so we were able to reward a bunch of Sharks fans to come into the box. And so we met this lovely couple, Drew, who had bought a Sharks jersey 10 minutes earlier and had decided to check out rugby league. He's a Dallas Cowboys fan, and check it out and come and watch. And so we invited Drew and Jennifer in, and there's a terrific video of me explaining to Drew the history of the Cronulla Sharks in 90 seconds, which is particularly funny.
I watched that one. I really enjoyed that.
But what I struggled with Drew was the rules and also the interpretation of the game. And so the Ronaldo penalty, I just couldn't explain to him why that happened. And there were a couple of other moments where the Sharks just didn't get the calls. And I think we as a game, and you don't want to blame the referees, but if you're putting the game on a world stage, you just can't be having these moments. Like Drew and Jennifer, they're in, and shout out to them, and they're on the socials, and we got a terrific video with them. But I just struggled to explain to them the rules of the game. And I just think you can't be on this. You get those mistakes in the NFL and the Premier League a little bit, but nothing quite like the rugby league. And the Sharks were, again, just not quite good enough to overcome that. And then you have the other moments, not finding touch. I don't know, was it with Trindle or Hines? But
Trindle
again,
touch, yep.
Just one of those, like, come on, Blake Bradley, don't kick it out on the full. Like, come on, mate. Like, that is just like schoolboy era stuff. And then Mulatalo, goodness me, like, why? But that was BS, because the Panthers guys tackled him around the legs. Like, that's like a serious injury. And so you just can't do that. And so that was also tough as well, I thought. But yeah, overall, Sharks pretty unlucky. Are we closer? Yeah, maybe. Decision making in. I thought not taking the 2 when we were down by 8 was also wrong. Now, Dave Riccio was sitting in our box, and he's, oh yeah, sometimes they're feeling it out. And I actually, after a couple of drinks last night, had it out with Fitzy and Pricey about whether or not we should take the 2. And Fitzy said, yeah, I typically think we should take the 2, but sometimes the team doesn't let us do that. So the other thing,
I'm with the team.
Oh.
If you're feeling it, go for it.
The other thing that was big, so this is one of the great stitch-ups in life, and I tried to tell the story on the YouTube episode today. We were sitting at a bar last night at 7:30 with a bunch of Aussies, and we're about to bail, and Wade Graham walks past, And Wade Graham was like, "Oh, Bold, how you going?" I was like, "Yeah, what are you doing, Wade?" And he's like, "Oh, yeah, all the Shark stuff are coming down. We're trying to find a table." I'm like, "Oh, Wade, sit with us." So then we're sitting with Wade. And then Chris Kelly starts to recount the story the argument that I'd had with this guy 30 minutes earlier, saying that the attack was better with John Morris, right? And so then I'm going through this with Wade Graham. So then, of course, Steve Price and Craig Fitzgibbon turn up. And then Craig Fitzgibbon says, "Hey, Craig, Boldo reckons the attack was better when we had John Morris," right? So I'm sitting there going, and so then Steve Price interrupts and just says, "All right, what's wrong with the attack?" Oh.
Boom.
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 So Fitzgibbon had a very interesting insight where he described how the commentators focus on the block plays and those key moments of skill, but actually it's the more crash plays that actually can win you games. And so they really reinforced to me, if we're going to win this game tomorrow, they said we need to make error-free football and not make any mistakes in our own 20-meter line when we're coming out of danger, and have good decision-making. And that is basically why we lost. It's like literally remarkable that's why we lost. So,
Look
what
at
can you
Boldo
say?
name dropping. He came on, he hyped it up. He's all this just to come on and name drop. But jeez, make us
anyway,
jealous.
then the other
Make
funny
us
moment
jealous.
was that then
Make us jealous.
Fitzgibbon was, "Oh, you're going to come on the pod and going to tell you." I was like, "Look, Bold, I'm going to tell you the strategy." So then Fitzy outlined the strategy to me, and then he rounds it off with saying to me, "All right, now you're going to stop criticizing me on your podcast." And I was sitting there going, it's one of those moments where, I wish I would have known what to say. And I should have said, "Fitzy, I'm just glad that you listened." So then any regular watcher of this show will know that I love the third try principle. So then I explained in detail the concept of the third try principle. And Steve Price loved it. He was like, "Oh, I can sign up to that. That actually works." So he was certainly on that one. So
from memory, I think Flano shot you down on the third try principle.
yeah, well, Fitzy and Price are better than Flano, aren't they?
There we go. Whoa. Fighting words.
Maybe perhaps. So anyway, other than that, yeah, what an experience of a lifetime. So I heard you guys saying that you'd wish you'd come over, and I've got to say, you should have. No Sharks fan who's come over to this event has regretted it. The closeness of the Sharks fans that are here is, I've not really seen it before. We went down to this pub called the Tilted Kilt downtown, and they're playing up Cronulla and, put your hands up for De Gois and all this sort of stuff. It was just incredible time to be a Sharks fan. And look, if we'd have won, that would have rounded it out. But yeah, not quite us. The chocolate's for us, really, unfortunately. So, yeah, what can I say? Just a bit unlucky.
So, reading between the lines, just to give a plug for the NRL, would you be saying to any of the future teams that get invited to the Vegas weekend that their supporter base should get out there, grab their tickets, and head on over?
Oh, absolutely. So the word on the street I heard was that St. George and Canterbury are the teams that they are considering very closely for next season. If those two played, the visuals of the red versus the white, red versus the blue, I think would be striking. The NRL learnt, they blew it with playing the Gillaroos match in the middle. That was clearly a mistake. And it was just unfortunate that the English fans added a lot to the whole weekend and their presence and singing and that sort of thing. They clearly should have gone the Gillaroos match first, or played Women's State of Origin, I think. Would have been the right move.
Or at least played the Super League match second last, to keep the English fans in that stadium for as long as possible.
The English fans hadn't hung around more.
Did they?
The Warriors fans, they bailed. They would
They were the ones that bailed.
No, there's a. I don't think Chris uploaded it. Goodness me, we were uploading content till the cows come home. Where there's a hilarious video where I'm interviewing like 2 Warriors fans, and then there's like 50 around us by the end, and it's just pandemonium, and they're grabbing the microphone. I was like one of those weather guys that's at an event, and like people are like
Phil Bailey
and grabbing you and pushing you.
Tim Bailey.
Tim Bailey.
I was literally Tim Bailey, which was particularly funny, but. Yeah, look, when it happens to someone else, it's funny, but when it's your gear and the only gear that you've got for the next 7 weeks or 6 weeks while you're overseas, you don't really want to lose your microphone. That would be particularly annoying.
Yeah, brilliant. Very good.
Too good.
So how is the voice holding up, mate? You sound pretty good. You lubricating well?
I've worked out that I talk too loudly into the microphone and have a loud voice just in general. So I need to work on that skill. When we were down in the Fremont Street and the other places, talking, it's so loud there that you just feel like you have to shout to just communicate with anyone. But yeah, the voice is a bit croaky. We've sung a lot of up Cronulla, and tragic Sharks fan, Ben Lawson, he sent me a note saying, "You idiot, we shouldn't be singing Up Cronulla beforehand." And maybe that is the reason why we didn't win. So tough to say.
Yeah. All right. So based on that match, what do you think the season's going to be for us, mate?
I'm certainly more confident coming into this weekend, post having spent the time with the club, the players, and watching just the entire Cronulla Sharks outfit more closely. I'm more confident now.
Mhm.
I think we've bridged the gap between the Panthers a little bit. We have a little bit to go. Nico's got some improvement in him. We made some mistakes with Ronaldo. I thought the impact of Fanua Blake's going to make a big difference. So I still don't think we've got it right with Atkinson at 14. I'm not sure what we do there. Talakai didn't seem to have as much as an impact as I would have liked. I think we will make the playoffs. We will come up against the Panthers again, either in the prelim or the grand final, and we're going to be a hell of a lot closer this time than last time. So I think we're tighter. I kind of said that we would win in my prediction video. I'm going to stick by it. I think we can win.
All right, brilliant. Now, are you going to hang around, Boldo, or are you going to hit the town and try and find Kelly?
I think I'm going to hit the town and go and find Kelly and let you guys do the fine job that you do.
All right.
You do on this show. And shout out to you guys. Guys, it was Chris and I had a terrific time here. I just want to say anyone who watches the show, comes up to us, has given us a like, subscribed, given us a negative comment, all of that stuff has made an enormous difference. And we've I heard a great story this weekend of a guy that used to sit in front of us in the ET stand, and he said, "Oh, I've moved to the Sunshine Coast and I work in the mines and I don't get to watch the games live anymore, but I listen to you guys when I'm working down in the mines for 8 hours, and I get to connect with my dad talking about the Sharks and saying, oh, Franko and Lats were arguing about this, and I get to do this." And it's quite moving that we get to just do that and share those friendships with the Sharks community. And it is that gift that we have. We're very privileged to have the tickets in the ET stand that we have. That has enabled me to have one of the great weekends of my lifetime, having beers with Wade Graham and, being on a first name basis with ET and having Craig Fitzgibbon tear me a new one. Like, that doesn't happen for every Sharks fan. And whilst Chris and I had a great time, I was missing my other three mates. So we missed you. And now I'm really missing Chris because I don't know where the hell he is. I've got no idea. Sorry, Anik. I'm going to go find him.
Oh, you're in trouble,
All
Boldo.
right, mate. Well, as I wipe the tears from my eye, you get out there, you go and find your mate, because there's still a good solid 12 hours of frivolity, I reckon, in you. So get out there, have some fun, and hopefully you find our missing in action
Merch
member.
guy.
Yeah, merch guy.
Hopefully we find. Oh, goodness me. Chris Kelly, we got given these free hats in the box, and then some of the people in the corporate box were taking the hats, and he had like 5 for his family. Like, dude, and he only had 4. He was so pissed off at the end. I'm like, oh God, you can just have mine. You can imagine how he was. But yeah, boys, thanks for having me in. Congratulations on a great show. We certainly missed you. We'll try and be Casey Latino going soft. I'm going out now, Case. Chris Kelly's passed out in the gutter. All right,
he's on the roof. He's on the roof. If you watch the movie, he's on the roof.
He's on
Be
the
careful.
roof.
Be careful posting things to socials at 3
Well, we're
a.m.
done
mate.
on posting to socials now, so we'll post anything that we haven't posted. We'll post on the Instagram tomorrow. And can I just say, I interviewed Carl Stefanovic. It's got 40,000 views.
Wow. I think I'm about 39,000 of those views.
Yeah.
Who knows? Never mind.
That was
All
awesome.
right, lads. Stay beautiful, and
Awesome.
we'll see you guys soon.
Great
Brilliant,
job, mate.
Enjoy the trip.
Well done.
All right, that was Boldo. Whew, yeah,
Giddy
it's
up.
fine. Made us a little bit more jealous, that's for sure. Got a little bit stroppy there at one point, but the sentiment was real, so that was nice. All right, now there's been a bit of talk about how close we were, and that shows a lot of improvement. I guess the fly in the ointment there is, have we improved, or Panthers a little bit off, missing Luai, missing James Fisher-Harris? Have they come back to the pack a little bit? That's probably something we're not going to be able to answer today. That's probably a round 8 or 9 kind of discussion. But all things being equal, you can't deny that we took it to them, right?
100%, mate. 100%. There's only positive signs to come out of today's loss. Not to mention, when they had clicked into gear, they were up by a substantial amount of points. We were able to claw back and get within 2, and put it to them right up till full time. I only saw the Panthers off for the first 10, 15 minutes of that game. From then on to the final siren, they were on. Cleary had them moving around, and mate. Honestly, I think we have got growth in us from last year, and AFB is a massive part of that. I was really happy with what I saw.
Yeah, brilliant. I agree. Now, there's plenty of NFL chat going on in the comments now. Probably fair since it's over in Vegas, so we'll let that slide. I won't get too angry at that. But the discussions around Atkinson sort of evolved into the bench, and I did say we would come back and talk about the bench. So in talking about the bench, it was really, if you want to talk about it, a quiet game from everyone on the bench. Now they had their involvement. It surprised me to look up and see that the likes of Hazelton and Talakai and Hamlin-Ueli all clocked in about 30 odd minutes, which is fairly significant, if not standard, for a bench player. But they just didn't seem to have much impact there. Not a lot of runs from them. Now, it could be one of those circumstantial scenarios where while they were on the field, Panthers had that glut of possession. There was certainly a period throughout the game where Panthers had the ball a lot more than us, and when we had the ball, we were smothered. So that could be it. But I think it does sort of lend itself towards maybe Atkinson isn't the right call to get that extra bopper out there to keep these guys fresh, so that, if they're getting out muscled, they at least know that there's someone that's going to be able to take their spot, and they can hit as hard or chase as hard as they want to without worrying that they're going to need more in the tank a bit later on. It's just how I feel. Yeah, the bench didn't seem right, and I think it does stem from Atkinson. That said, all the boys there were a bit quiet, so I don't want to single out Atkinson. He was there. I thought he did a job. He was only on for 14 minutes, but like I said, he basically a tackle a minute, so it wasn't as though he was sitting back and taking it easy. But I do think it's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Talking of quiet games, I think I'm going to rattle the birdcage here a little bit and say I think Stone Street had a bit of a quiet game as well. Let's see if anyone comments. I'm just throw it
in
out
regards
there.
to Stone Street, I think he was pretty starved of possession. He came in field looking for it a bit in attack, but I thought it was different because we're so used to seeing our back five go so hard to get us out of trouble, and we seem to rely on our forwards a bit more tonight. That being said, I think you're right with Atkinson. I think he'll drop off the bench going forward with him going to the Dragons next year. And I'll tell you what, a nice fit to Pua would have been so nice out there. Like, he's just showing what he did in the trials. He's really worked on his game, to Pua, and he's got a nice little bit of footwork there. And I think he just could have been that punch that we needed. I think you're right there, Franko.
Yeah, for sure. There it is. Williams 2.0 chimes in and says, "Wash your mouth out, Franko." Wow.
Hook, line, and sinker, mate.
Hook, line, and sinker. Yeah, 15 runs for about 150 meters. He did all right, old Samuel Stone Street. But certainly seemed a little quiet in terms of, like, Jesse Ramian was everywhere, tackling hard, awesome in defence. 177 meters.
He was partly the reason Stone Street didn't see too much ball, and yeah.
Yep.
But look, you know what? Ramian was a
game-winning try at the end.
Could have been, but who knows? But Ramian, look, he just went looking for the workload, and he took it on.
Yeah, he didn't shy away. I thought Ramian had a very good game.
Awesome game.
Yeah, absolutely. Do we think Nicker is going to get in trouble for the Ivan Cleary rib tickler? Do you think that's going to come back and bite us?
I was just going to say that to you. I was going to actually ask you that question. I didn't know it was coming, but just like Cleary didn't know he was coming. But look, I think he had his head down. I don't think he saw, like he was affecting with his right shoulder, and I don't think he saw Cleary offload the ball. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be all right. It wasn't a penalty on the field, so I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those scenarios where we're all a little bit nervous about it because it's Cleary. I think if it was, anyone else, especially not a playmaker, but anyone else, I think we're probably, it was close. It was fine. I think he wasn't looking when he bent down. Theoretically, fingers crossed, I guess. Cleary's not injured, so there's no ramifications in that regard. Certainly finished the game, and hopefully you'd like to think he's cleared and it's not about the player, but certainly something that I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye on. Maybe a fine, but hopefully nothing, but we will see. So Sheikh said, check out my earlier comment, and that comment from Sheikh was, Stone Street has all the tools to be an incredible winger. I just don't think he's ready. His first contact on hit up are atrocious, and we're really going to miss Katoa. I do think we're going to miss Katoa. We sort of said that on our Tuesday night show. Katoa is one of those people that we take for granted. I think he certainly does a lot more right than wrong, and really surprises people when you look at his involvement. You just sort of think, oh yeah, he's maybe not as fast as everyone thinks he should be, or he ping pongs a little bit more, but really he does a lot of good stuff. So we will miss him, but there's nothing like on the job training, and I think Stone Street's getting bigger and stronger and more experienced, and this will certainly help him out, right? So yeah,
100%. He's still learning his craft in the top grade, and as you said, finding his feet, and he's only going to grow.
Yeah, so I think we'll watch this space. He's certainly going to get better and better as the weeks roll on. Rob kicks in and he says, we do miss Katoa, but a pretty good, if not yet fully baked, replacement in Stone Street. Yeah, I think we're not gonna go wanting too much, is the bottom line. And if we're gonna start poking the bear, there were a few people out there who were sort of saying, oh, don't sign Ronnie because we've got Stone Street who can step up. I think the right decision was made there. I think Ronnie is a class above. But I do hope Stone Street sticks around, because as we've just seen, our wingers are a little bit brittle at the moment, and he's going to get plenty of games. He got a fair few games last year, and he's going to get a fair few this year. So let's see what happens. All right. Now, I felt that with the narrower field, I would have liked us to see us straighten up our plays a little bit better. I do feel as though there was a few times where we swung it wide, our shape was good, but we just sort of ran out of space. Now, I don't know what that's going to look like on a regular NRL footy field, but on this abridged version of a field, it just sort of seemed to run out of space a little bit. And I would have liked someone to just straighten it up a little bit, just take a step inside and put people off their pace a bit, and just sort of see what happened there. What do you reckon, mate? Am I seeing things? Is that?
No, mate, I think you're bang on. And look, 5.5 meters on a footy field is actually quite a lot when you look at it, when you've got like 13 players stretched across. Yeah, mate, I think I think we did miss a few opportunities there, but we saw some nice runs from Teague, some good straight runs from Teague and Nickera, and we saw what AFB did with that try. And I think you're right. I think it was a forward running game, not a not a backline playing wicket.
Yeah, just someone, the ball carrier, just to straighten up a little bit. I thought would have been nice. We sort of saw that by extension with the double pump from Nico, and it got us dividends. So yeah, would have just liked to have seen a little bit more of that. Now AFB, let's talk about AFB. It was his debut match for the Sharks. We're not including trials here or preseason challenges. Debut match. What do you think of AFB, mate? What was your takeaway?
Mate, that first offload scared me a bit. Nickera cleaned up, but mate, yeah, look, solid. To step into a team play your first game with them, first regular season game. Get a meat pie, make plenty of meters. I think what did he make, 155 meters or 125 meters or something. Barnstorming runner of the ball and great addition to the team. The boys, he seems to have clicked in really well. The boys seem to love him, and he's part of the furniture now. Really happy with him.
I think that offload, you're right, was pretty hairy, especially considering where it was and when it was so soon in the match. I'd like to give him credit. I think he learnt from it because throughout the game, he had his arm free. He was looking back for someone to pop the ball to, and more often than not, there wasn't someone there ready for it. So I think that's something the boys are going to have to sort of clue into so that they can be ready for that, so that we can take a bit more advantage of that offload.
Especially with 4 blokes hanging off him, creating gaps for us.
I think it's something we're not going to want to tell him to put away and stop trying it. So, we're just going to have to be a bit more aware when he's ball carrying. That said, he's a bit of an enigma, in my opinion. We talked about the try where it didn't look like much was happening, but he still managed to get his way over. He just doesn't seem to be overly energetic. There's a bit of a slow lope about him. But then, you look at the stat line, you look at his involvement, it's like he was in a lot of stuff and he did a lot of good things, but just watching it there, it just didn't seem to be eager, didn't seem to be energetic. It was like, what are you doing? Come on, get in there, AFB.
Yeah.
And then you sit back and you're like, well, hang on, look what he's done. He's done heaps. He was in everything. And so I'm looking forward to seeing him live.
Sorry, Franko. He's always given off that vibe, even at the Warriors. Like, he scores a try and he gets up, not much expression in the face, does the flipped hands, and but he gets the work done. He gets through his workload, and maybe we don't want him to be that hot-headed player. I wouldn't want to be playing against him if he was a hot-headed player, let me tell you. But I'd look, if he's making those statistics, let him go about how he's going about it.
Yeah. So here look, we've got Rob kicks in. He says he looked like he was carrying the weight in that first 20 minutes and the wacky offload, but calmed down and just played from there. And then Williams 2.0 slaps you across the wrist, and he says 190 meters laps.
190 was
please,
it?
Mate. Yeah. Second stint, he was much more effective. Yeah, he was much more effective. Need to get someone sniffing around as he gets his arm loose for that pop-up. Imagine if we had a fullback with speed. Well, there you go. So 2.0 agrees with me that he did get that arm out quite a few times. He did mention something there that I was going to raise. So I'll piggyback off the back of that 2.0. The second stint was much more effective. I felt the same in the preseason trial against the Raiders. I thought his second stint there was much better. And that might be something that we see as a bit of a trend. The first stint is, get that contact, get prepared, and then the second stint with a few, get in the grind. Then the second stint with a few more tired bodies is when he sort of comes to life. So let's keep an eye on that. But from a small
I'll tell you what
sample, I think that second stint he's definitely an improved player on the first.
Yeah, we went gangbusters when him and McInnes came back on, and McInnes got through a whole heap of work as well tonight. I thought his numbers were really good as well. He was everywhere in defence, and that seemed to be our big momentum push from our bench when they came back on. Having them come on together, I think that was a really nice little touch there from Fitzy, and I liked it. And you were right. That second stint was a lot stronger.
And as I mentioned earlier, the idea that I think McInnes was one of those players that really identified that slow ruck play. He was doing everything he could to try and speed up that and get us on the front foot, and I think it showed. So that was sort of good experience from him. And then Scooter 69 says he felt that Penrith actually tired in the last 20 minutes. Well, I mean, I hope so, Scooter, because they were a man down on the bench, and Cleary didn't get to play any trial matches. But that said, I also hope that it was more based on us. Yeah. Yep. Because I don't think we slowed down. I think we were still
No.
head in the game and lifting our intensity right up towards the end there. So that was really good. One from Shake here. He says, don't know if anyone has mentioned Kennedy thought he played really tough tonight and had some great moments. Yeah, he fooled the refs with the keeping the 40-20 in.
Well, maybe
Theoretically,
look on a regular field that would have been in. So
yeah, correct. Yeah, we'll take that. And then I guess fooled the refs again with stopping that try. But yeah, I thought
great under the high ball.
Yeah, I thought Kennedy was fantastic under the high ball. Like there's a lot of pressure put on him.
Martin was at him all night.
Yeah, I just caught a bit of the conversation with Lara Pitt and Yao, where he was saying basically they put 2 people on him to really pressure him under every high ball. So he handled that well. He copped a few bumps and bruises, but got up and kept pushing hard. We all know it's a contract year for him, and I think he's just showing that he is a solid player.
He's a first string NRL fullback every day of the week. I hope we re-sign him. I think he was it a cramp that I thought he'd done a hammy when Cleary put up that spiraler, and he got back, made the catch, but he got up a bit gingerly, and he then sort of went down again on his own. I was a bit worried whether he's cramping or not, but he just looked a little bit gingerly on the legs. But mate, he was awesome tonight. You couldn't fault him.
Yeah, I'll need to double check. It looked like he got a bit of a cork in one of the contacts, and he was sort of nursing that through for a little while before it rubbed out or warmed up. But yeah, I think it's one of those scenarios where not every fullback is a Reece Walsh or Pappenhausen, where it's all nippy speed through the middle of the field. Kennedy's not that type of fullback. He's certainly a bit more of a playmaker in the set plays. Certainly safe under the high ball. So it just depends on what you build a team around, right? We could be wishing and hoping for someone that comes down the middle of the field, always sniffing for those offloads, and is always, I'll use the term X factor, that can step off the mark and do something from nothing. But in getting that, maybe we lose all of the plays that we've built around the last few years out the back, right? So maybe that fullback that we get doesn't have that good offload or that good passing game or the grubber on the line.
Into the back line and
Yeah, so it's going to be maybe a case of grass is greener there if we don't re-sign him. Certainly a headache for Mooney and Fitzy, one that I don't want to have to make because I think he is a great player, but I also know that we've got a couple of good young talented kids coming through in Ison and Dykes. So watch this space, I suppose. Hopefully they're a little bit more across it than we are, especially considering they're seeing them at training every day and know what they're all capable of. But yeah,
definitely.
All right, so 2.0 kicks in and he says, have to say that Kennedy played well. Just his speed is irritating, and sometimes his positioning in defence is really frustrating. He's a solid starter, but would love a game breaker. Yeah, I guess, again, every player can't be a game breaker, right? So where do we spend that cap? We've now got AFB as a big money, hopefully a game breaker, I guess. You've got Nico on good money.
Ronnie.
Maybe fullback's the next spot you spend your big pay packet on, but ultimately I think we've got a nice, well-balanced team when you look at us across the park. And then Locke here, he says, Kennedy looks as good as your beard, maybe better. I'm going to go, that's your beard there, Lats.
I hope so. I hope
Technically, I don't have a beard.
Well. I'll take that. I rate Kennedy, so yeah.
Brilliant
Good stuff.
Very good. And then Scooter says, yeah, he was sucking in the big ones when he was doing quite a bit of running the ball back. Yeah, he was certainly targeted. I think someone said
monstered all night.
Yeah,
down in that
I think
corner.
You mentioned, or one of the commenters mentioned, that we probably didn't target Dane Laurie as much under the high ball. That would have been nice. Try maybe maybe put a bit of pressure on him. I think it was maybe 2.0 because he wanted Stone Street to try and outleap him. But yeah, it was
especially
certainly
with Garner there, no Toto. Yeah, would have been a nice little option to take, but unfortunately we didn't. And
But-
look, we went bloody close though.
Yeah, we did. We live, we learn. I think that was one of those scenarios where we can hold our heads up high, right? Big occasion, especially with the other results throughout the rest of the day. There was a bit of an ominous feeling. I know there was a few people pumped that was like, we're going to get this is in the bag. But against Penrith, you can never be sure. And I think the fact that we were one scoring play, the difference, we can probably say that we did well, and the press will talk us up a bit, I think, over the next couple of weeks. How about, and this is just a little personal nitpick, and I apologize for this one, but how about that time wasting with about a minute and a half to go after the Ramian no try? You stand there, not playing the ball, the clock is ticking away, and he's just standing there waiting for the ref to tell him to play the ball. Just stood there. I think we lost about 20 or 30 seconds there on nothing.
Yeah, I hate this sort of thing. Just play the game to the end of the whistle, and none of this flopping, diving, time wasting rubbish.
It would have been just as frustrating, but at least more acceptable if you'd have like, oh, whoops, I pretended to drop the ball and fumbled trying to pick it back up, or I've got a cramp and I can't play the ball just yet. But he just stood there and the ref did nothing. Now, there's been a few comments on the ref throughout. I'm not going to give Klein a hard time. I don't think it was a game that he influenced too much. But it was certainly a moment that blew my mind. I was not there for that one. All right. Williams 2.0 has come in with his 3-2-1, and 3 was Kennedy, 2 AFB, and 1 was Tricky. What was your 3-2-1, Lats?
Mate, look, I'm going to have to go 3 Brails, 60 tackles. The work he did, put AFB through, just his eyes up footy, running when he needed to. I was really happy with his game. 2, Jesse Ramian. I thought he had a monstrous game tonight. And, 1 point to Will Kennedy, mate. And with an honourable mention to Cam McInnes.
Well, I'm going to go with my 1 point. I'm going to go in reverse here. So I'm going to go, my 1 point is probably, there's a few good guys that really sort of had a crack. So it's a hard one, but I'm going to go 1 point is Nickera, which is a surprise because that means he's not getting my 3 points.
That is a surprise.
My 2 is going to be Hines. I thought he did well. And then my 3 points is Ramian. I thought Ramian was a monster in defence. It was everywhere in attack, whether it be in support or just hit ups. I thought he had a really solid game. Barring that almost try right at the end where I'll have another couple of watches to see if it was on or not. I think had pretty much a faultless game.
Stony pass. Yep.
Yeah, just a little.
He's lucky that knock
there,
on
mate.
out of the scrum that led to our first try anyway.
Yes.
It got called back. We were lucky there, but yeah, he was a gun, mate. He was a gun. He looked dangerous every time he had the ball. No matter where on the field we were, on the halfway line, pushing the line or whatever, he was an absolute weapon.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to be really knocking down the Origin door this year.
Yeah, I think so. You called it, didn't you, in our predictions that he might get a run at Origin?
Yeah, mate, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
So watch that space. Benny Turner kicks in and he says, thanks for the debrief, boys. Definitely the A team of the ET Stand, the Cronulla Sharks fans podcast. Look at that. He's even got the slogan down.
Benny,
well
legend.
Done, Benny. If I had a prize to give you, Benny, you might have bribed me enough to give it to you. But we haven't got the prizes yet. We've got to wait. We've got to wait for Boldo to come back and tell us what prizes we can give out.
If he hasn't lost all his money in Vegas.
Correct. Hopefully we've got something good. Do you have any parting calls, Lats, before we wrap this one up, mate?
No, mate, just a cracking, stellar job by yourself at host. Thoroughly enjoy doing these debriefs with your mate, and looking forward to the year ahead.
Oh, mate, it was good. Thanks very much, Lats, for the great show as usual. Shame we didn't get the chocolates. Again, if you've been missing it, guys, Baldo and Kelly have been hammering our Instagram with plenty of Vegas, including interviews. So go check it out. They did an interview with Ryan Hoffman earlier, which is on our YouTube channel. Go check that out. It's pretty cool to see someone who didn't really need to stick his neck out there and have an interview, especially with opposition fans, to go through and do something like that. So full credit to him. And if you want to find that Instagram, what are we? The ET Stand Podcast, at ET Stand Podcast. I should get that down pat for next time, right?
Had an absolute flood of new followers with all this Vegas content. The boys are doing a fine job over there, and keeping everyone updated and making us all feel like we're there, and also feel how much we've missed out.
Brilliant. Check it out. Like I said, there's some good interviews there, some good nuggets. Baldo just regaled us with one or two of the things that they've uploaded. So there's a few more things to go, and I think we've still got a bunch of interviews from the Hall of Fame event still to go up there. So get on and have a look at that and get involved. As mentioned, this debrief was brought to you by Solve Accounting, experts in all things accounting and tax. Go find them at solveaccounting.com.au. We'll have our usual Tuesday night show where we chat through some more things Sharks and wind down from this big event. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Lats. I don't think Baldo is coming back yet, is he? So he's going to be MIA for that one.
6 weeks over there, whether he dials in or not. I think he's taken some equipment over with him. So
okay.
He may be around. He may not.
All right. Well, we'll see if
hopefully he finds Chris Kelly. Because it might just be the three of us on otherwise.
We could have drastically reduced members this time next week.
Actually, my money's on. I think Chris Kelly's just gone somewhere so we could quietly watch the maths episode for this evening. So
bit of a fan, is he? Okay.
Oh, huge fan.
Gotcha. All right. Well, then I think you might be able to call that one out when we see him next time, because if he's a fan, probably not wrong. But then that said, I've seen CK out on a big night, and he generally goes for a little bit of a quiet moment to himself. Yeah, a little quiet wonder. If you missed us live, drop some comments below or jump on the Discord and pop them in there. We'd love to see how you, the fans, are feeling about the year ahead. And if you missed out on going to Vegas, what you thought of it. Was it worth the Sharks going? Did we get anything out of it as a club? It's certainly something that I feel the exposure has been really good for us, if only to show that we're a pretty professionally run organisation. I don't think we would have got away with this 5-8 years ago. I think this has been something that really just shows that the club is heading in the right direction, or has been heading in the right direction. And really, I think that, again, the fact that we were in the marquee game for the day as well, early on in this Vegas trip, it's been awesome. So good work to the club. But you maybe don't think that's the case. Also, I guess let us know if you wanted to go but couldn't for whatever reason. If you're feeling the pangs of FOMO, hit us up. Maybe we can try and be there with you and a shoulder to cry on. But yeah, thanks again, Lats, and everyone for listening. It's been a great show, and I can't wait for the season ahead. Hey, up Cronulla.
Up.
For over 50 years, people have come to see the Sharks play. Talent, skill, speed, intelligence, elite level athleticism. That's not these guys. Biased, one-eyed, opinionated, more often wrong than right. They make up for their complete lack of talent with pure dribble, gibberish, and enthusiasm. This is the ET Stand Podcast.